Welcome to Just One Question with your host, Lion Flood. This podcast is brought to you by The Minority Report, where our goal is to inspire, educate, and empower you with cultural knowledge. We'll also have conversations dealing with social justice, mental health, and the all-around truth. So if you're bold enough to hear the truth, then you're listening to the right podcast. Let's find out what that one question is with your host, Lion Flood.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming back to another episode of J1Q, Just One Question. And as we always talk about here, we're bringing you things that are working to motivate, inspire you to take your life to another stage, another place. And today's guest, I'm really excited to bring to you as a transformational coach to talk a little bit about ways that she can assist you and help you with that. Now, you're going to hear a little accent because she comes from the UK, but hey, we still love it the same. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and meet our guest, Nicola Mercer.
So I work mainly with women who are business owners or work in corporate to help them get back in control of their lives and build sustainable, healthy habits. And my ultimate vision, Lion, is about helping to normalize a healthy lifestyle so that kids grow up just knowing what it means to value yourself and take care of yourself.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that because I think there's been such a strong movement towards people being open and talking about feelings, talking about ways to improve. Whereas maybe in the past, it was so sheltered and you weren't able to say, hey, I need help. I need guidance. And I really love that. And for someone like you to come along to tell someone and say, hey, I've got a few steps that could maybe get you a little further down the road where you want to go than taking you 6 or 7 years. So how does one first start the process? Or maybe they're sitting at home and they don't know they need a transformational coach or can use one. What does it look like if someone's sitting in the house, they just got off work and they're just thinking, I need something better?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I think, what coaching is can be really confusing for people. And I think there's still a misconception that coaching is a kind of therapy, which it's not. Coaching is about helping you to untap the potential that you already have inside of you. It's helping you to just get clear on who you are, what you want, and to help you get unstuck from where you are now. So if somebody is feeling really stuck, that they would like their life to be different, they would like to feel different, but they don't know how to make that happen. Maybe they've tried changing many times in the past and it's failed, and so they've lost that self belief that they're able to change and create the life they want. That's when you would think about getting support, and that's when you would then look at, well, what is it I'm actually struggling with? What is it I'm stuck with that I would like to change? So that you can then look at what type of coach to work with, because there are so many coaches out there. Coaches specialize in lots of different areas, even within the health and wellness sector. So it's really important that you're not going to know the answer. You might not even know exactly what it is you want to change, but just thinking about why is it you don't feel your best, why you may be struggling with your mental health or your physical health. What is it that you think you would like your life to look like? And then that's the starting point.
Yes, and I know that you told our listeners a little bit, and we're starting to reach international, so I love it. You told them, "Hey, I'm from the UK, from Newcastle." My wife and I, we went London a couple of years ago, London, Paris, and then Amsterdam, and such a beautiful journey to see different cultures. And I know that this still fits within anyone, whether they're listening in America, the UK, or anywhere else. People are still people, so you can still reach someone even if they're not in the UK. They can still get in touch with you to help you or for you to help them start the journey and so forth, right? Your work, it can reach out to anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the best things, if you like, that's come out of the COVID pandemic for many of us, especially for businesses, in that it's now very normal to do things online like what you and I are doing now. You know, we can talk to anybody anywhere in the world. And even for people who I've worked with in the UK, we do it via Zoom because that's just the easiest, most convenient way for most people. You know, it's very unusual, especially for coaches, for someone to go and sit in a room with their coach. That can happen much more often for something, you know, very specialist with regards to a type of therapy. But yeah, I work online. My programs are all offered, you know, to anyone anywhere in the world using Zoom. So it's incredible that, you know, through social media as well, I can have that reach wherever you are in the world.
Yeah, and technology is just blown up so much. Like we were watching a movie, my wife and I were watching a movie the other day, and it was talking about how the phones just started being made, and now we can communicate with each other in just a press of a button, and so fast. To think you're thousands of miles away across the ocean or something, and we're talking, and our words are just like hearing each other in a split second. I absolutely love it. Now, I was looking into some of your work and everything, and I saw a few things that I really loved in what you were speaking about. Some of the things were important things like mindsets, the movements, nutrition, stress, and sleep. My son came home yesterday from school and he said, "Dad, so we just learned about, they have like a wellness class that they go to learn about emotions." And he said, "We learned that there's two types of stress, there's good stress and there's bad stress." And I was joking with him. And I was like, "Yeah, guess what type of stress you are to me." So, but when you talk about a few of those things that you think can set someone up to go down a path, when you mention mindset or nutrition, we all know they're important, right? We hear over and over again, you got to get correct amount of sleep and stress or anything. But what are one of those things you want to touch on that if a listener is hearing you right now, that it might make them say, "Wow, she just resonated with me. I really want to talk to her."
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the five things you mentioned there are the five pillars of wellness that I focus on in my Life Now coaching business. And I have a visual that puts them together with mindset in the middle, and they're all circles, each of those five things. And the reason mindset is in the middle is because that is absolutely key to living a healthy and well life. All of those five things are intrinsically linked, so each one impacts the other. And there are other facets to well-being, things like your career, your finances, your relationships, the environment that you live in, and so on. But those five are really important, really, need to be um, put in place as strong foundations to be able to feel happy and well. And I'll touch on the mindset because it does sit at the center for a reason. It is probably the most important part of the puzzle because a lot of people still focus only on food or exercise when it comes to being healthy. A lot of people have this belief that health is about being a certain size and shape. And you achieve that by going on a diet or going to the gym. And, many years ago, that was really where pretty much everything around health was focused. But over the years, we've obviously done a lot of research and there's a lot of progression around how our bodies work, and our minds are a huge part of our overall health and well-being. So with your mindset, this to some people might be a new term. The mindset is really about your beliefs. It's about the way you think and feel, often about yourself. That's the biggest part of your mindset. It's kind of the stories that you have in yourself and how the person they make you. And so with your mindset, you really need to be your own supporter. You need to be kind to yourself. You need to encourage yourself and be there for yourself. Because if you are, for example, focusing on what you eat and how you move your body to try to feel better, and you are getting benefit from that, But alongside that, you're still very negative in your outlook. You talk to yourself in a pretty negative, derogatory way. You're always beating yourself up and you don't have very strong self belief and self esteem and self love and so on. The impact of what you're eating and how you move in your body is probably going to have some benefit and you will feel better from it, but the chances are you're not going to be achieving the outcome that you could, like the full potential of the things you do and the habits you've got in place with your eating and exercise, because at the same time you've got this really negative, low, fixed kind of mindset. So if you were to improve that mindset and be much kinder to yourself and more supportive and just have that belief in yourself, then you would feel so much better because of those things that you're doing in combination. And when you have that kind of mindset as well, it really does help to build your confidence and empower you so that you can do more of the good things that are going to help to improve your healthy lifestyle and build and embed those habits into who you are.
I see exactly where you're coming from. And I think one of the hardest things and I'll include myself in this as well, but for people in general, right? We have been conditioned in so many ways through life that negative thinking, like you were talking about, that's almost like a first instinct. And so, for anyone who is on this journey and maybe working to transform their mindset and learn to be more positive, I think they have to be patient because it's not an overnight thing to start telling yourself I'm worthy, I'm doing well, and
Yeah.
even if you are doing that, you're going to revert back to some negative things occasionally. Our son is 8, and every morning when we drop him off at school, we'll tell him, "Hey, tell us a affirmation, tell us something positive," and cause we have like a list up at the house in which he reads from, and so he'll get out the car, and like today though, he's like, "Oh, come on again." And we were like, that's not an actual transformation, buddy, affirmation. He's like, I got to say another one. But we're preparing him now as we weren't coming up. And I'm speaking just for myself. And I think most people would probably agree with that. So that's a hard thing, though. So someone, they're listening and they're like, but I want to do it, but it's hard. Right? Is it? It's hard, yes?
Oh God, yeah, yeah, it is. And I've been there. I, I I suffered from anxiety. Well, I still do suffer from
Yeah.
anxiety and panic disorder. I've had it for 27 years, and it's something that really plagued me and made me have no self-belief. And I don't just mean low self-belief, I mean no
Right.
self-belief. The way I was brought up was to be negative first, because you're right in how you're describing how many of us have been brought up in our generation, was not to be positive first. It was to always, look at what we didn't have and what we wanted and needed and
Mm.
fixate on that future thing that might bring us happiness. And because of that, it made us, often um, pull ourselves down, think we weren't good enough. And this was through no fault of our parents. This was just how they'd been brought up. And it's been a journey of evolvement as we go, in our culture and society. So I get that it's completely hard, because I was in a place for many, many years where saying something nice to me just was not part of my mindset and habits. I beat myself up in horrible ways. I spoke to myself really bad. If somebody I knew spoke to me like that, I would literally want to do something quite, aggressive towards them, because I'd be really offended. Yet I thought it was fine for me to talk to me that way. And it's been a huge journey for me, because of the anxiety that I've struggled with, to learn how to be my own supporter, how to change those beliefs that I've had for almost all of my life. And it has been a very progressive journey. But that's why I do what I do, because I've learned so much through those past 27 years to, be able to help other people change, even when you feel like you're absolutely not a person who can be someone that speaks kind and nice and supportive and, in that much more positive way that you hear other people talk about.
Yeah, it almost sounds like, we're working to build a relearn, retrain our brain, our minds, and we're building habits, right? But we have to
Yeah.
start off slowly. Every day we tell ourselves, and exercise that, I don't want to say exercise, but something I used to do when I first started dating my wife, and I do this with friends or family members as well, is ask someone, who do they love, or what do they love, or something like that, right? And people sometimes will rattle off several things, several people, and then I would say, but you didn't mention you in that.
Mm.
We will say, I love skiing, I love doing all of this, or I love my friends and I love this person, but we never say I love myself. Almost as if it's, in a way, like we're told you shouldn't say that because it makes you sound boisterous, or it makes you sound like, you're uh, shallow. And I'm like, no, we've got to learn to love ourselves as well. And the analogy I like to talk about is when they tell you in the airplane, if that mask comes down and there's an emergency, put it on yourself first. But instinctively, sometimes we say, no, I got to put it on my kid, or I got to put it on a friend, or
Mm.
something like that. But those habits you're kind of talking about, it needs to build step by step. And man, I'm absolutely loving this. And if someone's sitting there and they're listening, and they say, well, why do I need a coach? What is your answer to that? What is your reasoning to tell them, hey, you need to work with me because I can assist you in what?
I can really help you to change your life and live the life that right now you wish you could live, but you feel is so far from reach. you know, it is possible to do this on your own. We're in a world where we have got the internet at our fingers. We can Google, we can YouTube, we can Pinterest, we can go to a bookshop or Amazon even and just order a book. We can find all of this information. But the problem is that there is so much out there. And the reason why so many people are struggling right now and might be thinking they need a coach to get to where they want to be is because it's so hard to keep yourself motivated and accountable. And that's what a coach does. It's your supporter, it's helping you to become the person you can be, but you just don't know how to make that happen on your own. You know, so many people struggle with time, with um knowing where to start because there is so much knowledge out there and at their fingertips. It can become very overwhelming. They hear one thing, then they hear another, and you procrastinate. You think, I'm going to do it, I'll do it tomorrow, but I need to do this first. And then it never happens. And before you know it, there's another year of your life gone. So that's why working with a coach can really add so much value, because you can, you're going to invest in it. You're going to pay money to work with the coach. So that's going to keep you accountable to be able to, make what you want to have happen, because you've got that coach by your side and you're all in.
It is so true, because I'm sitting and I'm listening to this and I'm just like, I remember when I was like that. I was so much disarray. I didn't know left from right. And I spoke with someone and I worked with them, and they were like, okay, hey, first you're going to do this, then you're going to do this. And it almost seems like, wow, I should have known that, but I didn't, because I was in so much disarray. And that's what a coach is for. It's kind of like what I was saying in the beginning. If you're playing a sport, they can give you the book, like you said. You can go on the internet, but you see all of the plays, but you don't know how to structure it. You're like, I don't know when to run this play. I don't know when to do it. And having a coach, I think, can benefit so much. And I ask all my listeners sometimes, what's the harm in it? If you're at a place where you feel so desperate that you're like, I don't know where to start to make these changes, what's the harm in calling someone or messaging you and saying, hey, where do I start? How do I begin? How do I get into this coaching program, or how do I learn more from it? And I absolutely love that you're opening up to the world for it, because maybe someone had a coach before and that just wasn't the right one for them. not everyone works for us. We have to try different things. And I love your ease and the way you just
Mm.
talk, and it feels like, oh, I could just listen. It's like a bird chirping with the window open when the weather is just nice and crisp, right? You're just sitting there reading a book, and that bird, oh, maybe one day it might be annoying to you hearing it chirp, but today it's a beautiful sound, right? That's encompassing you. So, is there anything you think that I've missed? Anything you want to say to someone listening right now that I didn't bring up? What else would you like to let them know?
Yeah, I think what I would say, line that we haven't really touched on, is why a lot of people are feeling stuck or unhappy with themselves and their life, and why a lot of people aren't living a healthy lifestyle. And it links to, I guess, what we were talking about with the way we've been brought up and our low self belief and self esteem, is that a lot of us lack self worth and value. And for many people, that's why they don't change anything, because they just think, well, this is how I am, this is life, this is my lot. It's a bit like that old saying of just, shut up and put up and just get on with it. And that's what I help people to do, is to find their worth. And I do have a free 5-day challenge that people can sign up to, which in 5 days you get emails drop into your inbox. So it's a bit of coaching on email, some great tools and inspiration to really help you get clear about why you are worthy. Because the absolute fact is, we only have one life. We are in the bodies we're in, whatever your beliefs are, we're in this body on this earth as this person only this one time. And so you have to make the most of your life. And for so many years, I wasn't living like that. I didn't have that self-worth and value. I was just existing. And that's what a lot of people are struggling with. They might be working hard, they might have some goals, they have dreams, but they're not really, achieving or going about them in the right way, because they just aren't actually valuing themselves. Their energy is so low and misaligned. And that's what, working with a coach can really help you on, is to get clear on your values, why they matter to you, why you matter, and why you are the only way you're going to achieve what you want to achieve. We all are very independent,
Yeah.
adults. We're responsible for ourselves. And so that's, what we've got to tap into and realize our own power.
I just was just dazing off because I was just listening to it, and I was like, this makes so much sense. But sometimes we don't know something that we don't know until we know, right? Until someone brings it to us,
Exactly.
and they're like, that makes so much sense. So we've been talking about a lot of the reasons of, how it can benefit someone to come to you and why they should. Now let's tell people how they can find you. I've been placing up on the screen for our viewers one of your social medias, but for our listeners, let's tell them, spell it out for them so they know how to find you. Your email,
So,
your website, whatever it
yeah.
is.
So you'll definitely find me on Instagram. I love showing up on stories. You can get lots of insights into how I live and inspiration, tips, support, and so on. So I'm on Instagram as lifenow_coaching. If you just put in Life Now Coaching, you'll find me. I'm on all of the social media. So I'm on LinkedIn as well. You can find me as Nicola Mercer on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I do have a Life Now coaching page on the platforms as well. And my website is lifenow.uk. I've got a new podcast which just launched last week called Live Healthy Now. And that's all about unwrapping what being healthy and well really means, and just giving you insights into how you can start to build your own healthy habits right now. I want it to be simple for people. I want people to have that penny drop moment, that it isn't this great big thing that entails you doing everything, otherwise it's just not worth it and you're not going to get any results. It is simply about finding what works for you, what aligns to your values, what you enjoy. It's got to be fun as well. It's got to be part of your life. And I love that example you gave of spending just literally less than minutes in the car each morning with your son, to just have that, moment of gratitude and positivity to help him build that mindset. And it's things like that that I help people to see, the impact of and get started with.
Yeah. Oh man, this has been so riveting. I absolutely love it. I wish we could continue this, but I know my mind. I can only consume so much before I explode. It's I equate it to what is that movie? The Minions. I remember, and then there was a
Oh,
part at
Despicable Me.
yes, and there was a part when they were at like a carnival, and he was winning her a bear or a stuffed animal or something, and she's got it, and she's like, "It's so fluffy, I could die." So like, that's me. That's my brain. When I get so much information, I'm like, "Oh, this is so good, I could die." So, but I really love this and appreciate this, and for anyone that's listening, no matter where you're at, like she was saying, if you feel stuck, if you feel like, hey, I'm desperate, I need something to just motivate me and get me out of this place, reach out to find a coach, reach out and email. And like you told them, you got like a 5 day free email, so forth. Take advantage of it. You could possibly find something in that moment that says, wow, I never knew this. I'm giving her a ring. I'm, calling her up, whatever. And I absolutely love it. So, just hold on for me for 1 second. Let me go ahead and pay these bills and get this thing done. And I'm going to come right back to speak with you for 1 second, okay? 1 second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to another episode of J1Q. Just one question. That question could be anything, right? How can I? Why? What can I do to change my place in life where I'm at right now? Whatever your question is, you need to work towards getting it done. And as I always tell you, just do me a favor. Just keep living while you are alive.
Thank you for listening to Just One Question. I know you enjoyed the show because you made it this far. If you want to hear more, subscribe, share, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review. Now, what's your one question?